Hello, young or old here, and welcome to my channel. I often mention that we get more mature and older riders now learning to ride, but I never really looked into why until now. Stay tuned and watch the intro. During the 60s and the 70s, motorcycles were more of a method of transport than anything else. Yes, you had some enthusiasts, but for the majority, a bike was a cheaper way of getting from A to B. There were no tests needed for smaller bikes. You just purchased your bike and that was it. You didn't even legally need to wear a crash helmet until mid-1973. The Honda Super Cub in its various sizes, the C50, the C70, the C90, they were all very popular models. They were cheap to buy and run, and they had sort of like plastic leg guards to help keep the rain off you, making them a popular method of transport. Now when I mean popular, I really mean popular, and they have been in continuous production since 1958, and by 2018 over 100 million of them have been sold, making them the largest selling vehicle in history. Now they had an advertising slogan. Well, let's see if you can remember it. Answer will be at the end of the video. So at 17, me or my friends, we just couldn't afford to have driving lessons, let alone buy and run a car, so we had a choice. It was walking, taking the bus, or get a motorbike to get around on. Sure, we enjoyed riding our bikes, but they were mainly a form of transport. Now we could ride up to 250cc at the time, on a provisional licence, no CBT or any training needed. Only two of our crowd took their round the block tests. One purchased a Suzuki GT380 and the other one a Suzuki GT550. Those of us who didn't take the test just rode round for about a year. Most of us were in some form of steady relationship, and some were now on the route to becoming car drivers. There was a couple of guys we did know who were a few years older than us. They were riding GT750 Suzukis and the infamous Z1 900 Kawasaki. Now, during the 80s, I was out of the biking scene, although some great bikes were produced, and they were becoming a fun item or a hobby, as well as an everyday transport, apart from the aforementioned Hondas, it seems. I honestly don't know any of my then mates who were riding bikes through the 80s. None of us were. We all needed cars. Me and my mates couldn't take their wife and two kids on a motorbike. Even I needed a car. I didn't want one, but I started to get a week's groceries in stock. I still don't want one, but sadly it's needed. The 90s saw some amazing machines produced, like the Fireblade and the R1, but here again, these were seen to be owned by people wanting a hobby or bike enthusiasts. Looking at my group, we were all paying high interest rates on mortgages. A lot of them were bringing up kids, so there was no spare money to indulge in a passion for bikes. It's funny that I've spoken to a lot of trainees and even complete strangers at bike meets, and they all seem to say the same. So trainees over the past few years seem to be older. You know, they've got grown-up children, the mortgage repayments are taking a less percentage of their wages, means they can now afford to reignite their desire to get back on a bike. Perhaps this is the reason a lot of them are interested in the style of the bike they drooled over when they couldn't have one, making the 80s and the 90s bikes popular. The two classic bike meets we go to have just grown so much over the past couple of years. We thought it might be just down to us being there, but If only we were that popular. Recently, I was contacted by a new subscriber who just found my channel and asked what bike he should get. He said he's 68 and not ridden for 30 years. What should he do? I replied with a couple of suggestions of bikes and then suggested maybe a refresher session with a training scheme would restore his confidence. His wife said it would do him good to get out of the house with an interest which he used to have. So let's look at today's trainees. As mentioned, they're mostly in their 30s plus, with many being in their 40s and the 50s. Some of them have friends riding and they want to join in. Some just wanted to ride with the dad, which is a great way for a father and son to build memories. We even had a daughter who just dreamed of being able to go for a ride with her dad. On the other side of the coin, we still get a steady stream of the 16, 17-year-olds. They just want to take a CBT, but that's it. They're not interested in any other form of training or to get a full licence. They're just happy to ride a 50 or 125cc for the 2 years of the CBT. They're only interested in their bike being a method of transportation, just like it was years ago. A lot are in further education and they just need a way to get to lectures or maybe a part-time job. Learning to drive, buy a car and insure it is way out of their budget nowadays, just like it was in our day. But even with parental help, it's hard. Without it, it becomes impossible. So it's sort of gone full circle again, back to when I was 17, as youngsters just want small bikes to get around on. According to sources I found online, the most recent boom in biking was 2020-2021, and there was a 5% increase on 2019. The increase is mentioned to be part due to the pandemic and also an increase in two-wheel delivery services, mainly delivering food for the many outlets which offer this service. Having just been to this year's motorbike show, it seems there are a lot less sports bikes on display than there used to be. Yeah, you still got the Ducati, the Honda Fireblade, the CBR 600RR, amongst many others. But there does seem to be a massive increase in the more upright adventure style bikes, as well as the more retro style bikes. Now, is this down to the fact that this is the market that appeals to the more mature riders out there? There was a lot of smaller commuting bikes as well on display, but here again, they would seem to be based for the younger generation. It will be interesting to see if and how long before it all turns around again and more changes will appear. Maybe if the government change the test system, as they've been saying that they're going to for years, that might change the current trends. Anyway, the answer to the question was, what was Honda's sales slogan? And it was, you meet the nicest people on a Honda. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this content. If you do, please do the ticks to like and subscribe. And as always, take care, ride safe, and bye for now.